Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, and in today's video I'm going to be making some art by only using my red art supplies. So I've got a variation of art supplies here, and I have some Spectrum Noir markers, some Copic markers. I've only actually got 2 Copic markers in red, which is quite strange because I do have quite a lot of Copic markers. And I also have a couple of pro markers, one burgundy and one just a normal red colour, and 2 Cotman watercolours from Winsor and Newton. And I also have some colouring pencils, some here from WH Smith and some Prismacolor Premier pencils. And I have some crayons because I got a box of 100 crayons recently, and also some acrylic and some gel pens, 3 gel pens there. And yeah, so let's get on with it. So I've seen this challenge going around YouTube recently. I've seen a few YouTubers do it. I've seen Chloe Rose, Sophia Lou and Drawing with Waffles do it, and there probably are quite a few more. But I'll leave the links to the ones that I've seen down below because they're really cool and you should definitely go and check them out. And the idea for this challenge is to use all art supplies you own but only in one colour. And I thought I would choose red because firstly I haven't seen red used before in this challenge, and also I thought it would be extra challenging because there aren't really any pastel shades of red. The only way you can get a pastel shade of red is if it's pink. I used the watercolour for the skin of the picture because that was the only way I could get a lighter pastel-y shade, if you like, because the watering down the watercolour obviously makes it less pigmented. And I really struggled with this at first. It was really difficult to get the skin to look right because it's not my strength anyway drawing people, but this was especially hard with just using 2 shades of red. And then I used the markers and then the paint and the crayons. It was kind of experimenting with what would work, and it was very challenging. And I thought I would do a picture of a person because I need practice in that, although this was a difficult challenge and some of the anatomy went apart a little bit, which you'll probably be able to tell a little bit later on. So because I was only using red art supplies, I thought it would be very fitting to draw a picture of Red Riding Hood. Although some people have said that she also looks like a Canadian princess, and I can see this especially when I add leaves to the background later. I can see why people would think that she was Canadian princess, but I'm happy with either. She is either Red Riding Hood or a Canadian princess, or maybe even a Canadian Red Riding Hood. Who knows? But yeah, what I did first, I used the watercolour for the skin like I've already said, then I used the markers for the hair. I used a cardinal and the burgundy in the hair to get the deeper tone so it would contrast as much as possible with the hood, which I used the lighter red markers for. And I also used the colour pencils to go on top of the skin shading and in the eye, and for the lips and the eyebrows and some of the really darker shading in the nose, I used the Copics again, and some of the other markers as well. The Spectrum Noir markers were quite close together in shade, so it was quite difficult to actually shade them. They were almost like they were the same colour. That was okay because it meant that I could get an even colour easier, but it was more difficult with shading. So yeah, and I really did have quite a lot of trouble with the face because I was layering using different supplies. I couldn't really fix any of the anatomical errors that were going on, like I'm not happy with the eyes, for example, or the nose. I quite like the mouth, that's not too bad, but if you look at her face as a whole, it's not too bad. But if you start zooming in on different parts of it, you can really see that it's not quite right. But overall I was happy with it, but I do need to work on some of my anatomy skills, and I really do need to go back to do some more studies. But yeah, I think this piece worked as well as it could have done because, like I said, with red it's quite difficult to get a variation with tones without using blues or browns to shade it, or purples to shade it, because that's what I normally would use to get variation in reds and to get a deep shadow. So yeah, that was quite difficult because the only pastel-y shades I was able to get without using pink were through the watercolour. But yeah, I think overall it is a really good challenge to do and I do recommend it. And it was quite fun going through all my art supplies and finding all the red pieces. And there were obviously some red stuff that I didn't use, which were like really cheap colour pencils or colours that I had duplicated. So it isn't using all of my red art supplies, but it's pretty much most of them. So after I had laid down the base work in the markers and the pencils, I used the acrylics to give a little bit of variation in the hood and the hair, and I also used some of the acrylics to do some of the leaf shapes around the outside of Red Riding Hood, and I used nearly all different types of supplies to colour in the leaf shapes because I thought that would utilise them quite well. I used the crayons, the acrylic paint and the markers to get slightly different tones because I didn't want just one colour of leaf. I wanted lots of, well, okay, it is one colour of leaf because they're all red, but one shade of red is what I meant to say there. Yeah, and I also use the gel pen here, well, the clicky gel pen. It's like a gel ink pen, but it's also like a biro. But yeah, it's a clicky red gel pen to do some smaller leaves. And I also used the glitter gel pen in the eyes and also in some of the bits on her dress to make a nice pattern, because I wanted to use the gel pens because, you know, I love using gel pens. They are one of my favourite things of all time and I've loved them as a child, and I have too many gel pens. But yeah, only 3 in red though, apparently. But anyway, yeah, I also had a metallic crayon which I wanted to use. I used that in the leaves, and I also used a little bit of crayon in the skin, but not too much. And I've also been using an eraser as well. It isn't red, but it's not actually a supply that puts colour on the page, so I figured it was okay. And I mainly used that to blend the skin as well, so I didn't actually use it like a lot. I didn't use it to remove too much colour, it was just for blending. And I did also put back the white highlight in with my white gel pen because I coloured over it and I needed to put that back in. I was intending to leave the white of the paper, but I didn't. So if you're new here, welcome. My name is Katie and I upload art videos. I upload a new art video every Thursday, so do feel free to subscribe if you have liked this video. And yeah, I also upload a bonus video sometimes on a Sunday, and there should be a bonus video coming out soon because I'm taking part in a collab, but the collab wasn't quite finished, so I haven't been able to upload it yet. But yeah, do hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on that. And also leave a comment in the comments down below if you have tried this challenge yourself or if you want to try this challenge, because I think this is a really good challenge and it's one of my favourites on YouTube at the moment. So do tag me in social media if you do this challenge because I would really love to see what you do. And also, if you like this video, you know, emotionally, please do leave it a like down below as that really does help me out. So to finish off the piece, I added some red glitter nail varnish, and I think this was fine because I have a bank of nail varnish that I have on my art shelf, which I use in crafts, for example, in shrink plastic necklaces. And yeah, so I count it as an art supply. Plus you can make art out of whatever you like, so it's an art supply. I used it in the rim of the hood and in the background because I wanted to keep the rim of the hood white so it would break up the shades of red a little bit, and I think this was a good decision. So I used it there and I used it in the background just to add a little bit more sparkle, because a little bit of sparkle is always good. So that's all for today's video. I really hope you liked it. Do leave a comment below if you tried this challenge, and also let me know what your favourite colour of art supply is to use as well. So that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next Thursday. Bye for now.